Hi, everybody. This is Craig on Between the Whiskeys. Thanks for joining me today. Well, as you could tell from that opening clip, I got a little noise here, and I'm in my own shack today, right here in my house, in my living room. Unfortunately, it's a terribly hot day here in Oklahoma today, so I'm not going to be out doing a whole lot of direction finding. Although, just from experience, I think I know which one of the poles it is from driving my pickup past it for a little bit. But I'll have to get out and do some direction finding and do all those kinds of things that are necessary to find the noise and eliminate any noise that might be coming from inside here. Like I said, it's really hot today, so the air conditioner's running and some things like that. I'm not going to go through all of that process today, but I wanted to talk to you just for a minute after our last video on solving the noise problem up at Dave's. Um, is is how to go about dealing with your power company. Now, one thing I could do is I could get mad right here and say, "Dadgummit, I've called them before. You know, there's a problem with this noise out here on my line." Uh, I could just get fed up and I said, "I'm going up there and they're going to fix this or else." Well, that's not probably the way to go about it. Um, there's some things that you need to do first, and some things that you need to do to try to uh, kind of ease yourself into the problem. Now, you got to do some direction finding. Take your AM radio, kind of go around through your house, try to locate some items that are maybe in the house that could be causing some noise, eliminate those. Maybe set your shack up to run off of a battery, turn the power off completely to the house and see if it's still there. Another thing you can do is try to determine whether it's coming from outside the house or inside the house. And an easy way to do that is just by connecting and disconnecting your antenna. Well, I've done that here, and I know that this is external noise. It's coming more than likely from the power lines. It's right now the antenna that's hooked up is a in-fed half-wave that kind of runs at a perpendicular to the power lines that are out there, but it's picking up a significant amount of noise. Now, it's right now on AM on 10 meters, it's only running about an S5, so I could probably operate on that if there were some signals there, especially if I use some filters and some noise blankers and things like that within my radio here. But I don't really feel like that's something that I should have to do. So let's say we do all the things, we go outside, we do some direction finding, and there's lots of YouTube videos about how to do all those things. You can look some of those up, or maybe in the future we'll put one together and kind of show you that. But let's say you find the pole and you're pretty sure that that's where it's coming from. One of the things that I think you ought to do, and I don't think that we do this a lot of time, is to make a log of the conditions that are present at the time. Record the time that you hear it. Record the weather conditions that are out there. What's it causing? Uh, what's it sound like? Some of those kinds of things. Well, that initial impressions that you have will kind of maybe provide some documentation to help those people or maybe the power company when they actually do come out is so you could describe it. And I would not run up to the power company the first time you hear it. I would try to track that situation a little bit, make that log, record several entries in your log book of different times of day, different temperature conditions. One of the things that I've noticed here is that when I have this noise, it's usually on a really dry day, and that tells me something because when it's raining or when it's rainy, that noise goes away. Probably got a cracked insulator up there, and you know, on the dry days the gap is present, but when it's raining, the water may get into the gap and bridge the gap a little bit and cause that not to arc quite as much. That's just my speculation, but I need to keep a log of that, and I need to make sure that I record times, dates, when that's happening, what the weather conditions are, and how it's affecting me as a radio operator. So I can take a look at that, and then I'll have that as evidence to present to the power company. After a few days, if it's there and you've gone out and done some direction finding and you've kind of identified it down to a specific pole, one of the things you probably ought to do is mark the number on the pole. Most of the poles have metallic numbers nailed to them, or they're identifiable in some way. If you don't have a number there, then take a picture of the pole, get an exact GPS location on that pole, and so on, so that you can present that information to the power company, and it'll kind of help them out as to where to look. Then You can go about it a couple of ways. You could give them a call and tell them. I'm not a big fan of making a call. I'd rather go into the office and meet with somebody face to face and look them in the eye and tell them, hey, I'm a ham radio operator. I've got some interference issues out here, and I really need to see if you guys could take a look at it. And give them the ideas, show them the documentation that you've made. That'll help them know that you're serious about it, and that you're there to ask for some help. You're not up there demanding help. I'm going to tell you, you can cure a lot of ills with some kindness. And if you run in there and you're just demanding and you're fed up and all those kinds of things, those guys don't take that very well. I know I worked in the public sector for many years, and that was an issue with me. If somebody came in and was just not really wanting to be very willing to work with me, it was hard for them to get me to do something. And I probably shouldn't have been that way, but it was a whole lot better situation when they came in nicely, and I felt pretty good about just jumping right on that. After you had your initial meeting with the power company, maybe the best next thing to do is to follow up with them. You could probably send an email to their customer service or their RFI department if you can find that information online. I'm sure most of the major power companies have an RFI division that they'd be willing to help. Thank them for meeting with you yesterday. Provide the documentation in a written form if you can scan that information in. Keep doing your logs and things like that, but that'll let them know that you're creating a paper trail and that you're asking for help and that you really want to have that happen. Um, Two things can happen. They can come out. They'll probably set up an appointment to come out. You want to make sure that if you can be, that you're there with them when they show up, so that you can talk to the engineers or the linemen that they send out there to work on your problem. You can show them the issue. You can show them your documentation. If you have a video, which I think is a really good idea, of making a video of your noise and audio so that you can hear that, then you can provide that to them. Show them what it's doing, and show them what it's doing right at the very moment. If you can fire your station up and get them there. If you can show them what direction finding techniques you used, then that might also help them. But you got to build a little credibility with those guys, because they don't know you probably, and they don't know if you know anything about their system or not. Uh, if it goes well, they'll probably get right on to fixing it. If it doesn't, and it's like, well, I can't really find anything here, I don't really know, um, then you may have to take it to the next level. And you'll want to go up there, probably go back with some more written documentation of what you've done up to this point. The fact that somebody came out, they couldn't find an issue, put it in writing this time. Make sure that the power company creates a ticket for repair or service on this particular line, um, and continue to make all the notes that you can, keep all the documentation that you can, so that they have the information that you have, so that they can possibly solve your problem. One of the things that you probably should mention in any of the written communications that you have with your power company is FCC Part 15, Section 15.5, and Section 15.109. Uh, Power company equipment is classified as an incidental radiator, and incidental radiators can produce noise. They're just not allowed to interfere with ham radio equipment. If you cite that fact to them in the letters that you're doing, they know that you're serious about this issue, and they're going to probably work to try to follow up. Also, when you create that ticket, it kind of puts them on a timeline, because they have 60 days to rectify that situation. So hopefully, with providing some documentation, you'll get them going down the right path. Now, the unfortunate thing about it is it may not go well, and you may not get any help from that. If you're an ARRL member, there's another step that you can take. The ARRL has an RFI desk that you can contact, and especially if you're a member, and maybe even if you're not a member, you probably ought to contact them. They'll go to bat on your behalf. If you've done the previous steps, if you've created a ticket, you provided documentation, you've got a log, you've got some recordings, they're going to want to look at those. They're going to want to look at what you've done already. They're going to want to listen to the noise. And in fact, you can go on the ARRL website and you can compare your noise to some known noise samples that are on that site. Pretty good information on there. You can kind of compare to what you're seeing and what you might have, happening at your house, and uh, maybe that'll help solve your problem a little bit. Uh, ARL has a formal agreement with FCC to try to rectify the situations before the FCC gets involved. Um, so hopefully, once you go down that step, you'll get some more response from the power company. They'll send letters out. They may even send some technicians from the ARL office or somebody nearby to come out and take a look at your issue, maybe do some direction finding on their own, and see if they can find the problem to help the power company solve your issue. And maybe the next thing you got to do is just give them a little bit of time. If you've documented everything well and you've contacted the right people, maybe you've talked to the ARL and nothing is happening, there's no rectifying the situation in sight. The next thing you're probably going to have to do is you're going to have to file an informal complaint with your state public utility commission. They're there to help you, and once that happens, usually get a 14 to 30 day time frame that kind of kicks into effect. So if you have to go to the utility commission, then usually something's going to happen. If after all of that nothing works, that's time to go to the FCC. You make a formal complaint to the FCC, provide all of your documentation to them, and it'll be handled from the FCC office after that point. They'll go to bat for you. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, because there's an easy way to fix it. If your power company will work with you, usually within the matter of the initial time frame of 60 days, once you make a complaint and get a ticket going and show them your documentation, most of the time they're going to work with you and get it all worked out. I hope you don't ever have any noise, and if you do, I hope you'll find this to be helpful in how to deal with it. Remember, be nice. It's easier to be nice than it is to have to go through all those other steps. So good luck, and this is Craig on Between the Whiskeys.